For several weeks now, there have been massive protests happening on the island of Puerto Rico, with hundreds of thousands of people calling for the resignation of Governor Ricardo Rosselló, who has been surrounded in controversy around government corruption. Even after he announced that he will be stepping down as governor, there is still uncertainty as to what lies ahead for the island. Zydalis Bauer sits down with Cynthia Espinosa, program director at Nueva Esperanza in Holyoke, and Adam Gómez, Springfield City Councilor, to learn more.
I think some folks, the media right now has talked a little bit about the chat that was released, but I think it's broader than that. It goes back a week before these protests erupted. Started off with some arrests of some corruption scandals with a couple people that were in place in the educational field and stuff. So that's kind of a little bit of it, but for the most part, right now, that kind of, I guess that drew the line in the sand.
Yeah, and I think I would say the shots that were released from Telegram from the governor and his cabinet really show misogynistic, homophobic comments, but also they sort of made fun of all the victims of Hurricane Maria. And we saw so many victims of Hurricane Maria come to Holyoke, Springfield, in this area. And I think that kind of hit the nail in there, and that kind of tipped that point into where the people wanted to come together and said enough is enough.
When we first heard about the protests, it was surrounded by this information that was leaked. But was this a long time coming?
I believe that already for the past 4 years, there's been an issue pertaining to Puerto Rico before Hurricane Maria when it came to the fiscal oversight, when it came to Promesa. Moving forward, there's a lot of contributing issues, particularly with Promesa, then with Hurricane Maria, and then the corruption with the government, and obviously having the facts that people had to be able to push him for his resignation. I think this is a new day for the people of Puerto Rico that shows that, you know, using protest is power. And moving forward, I think we're just seeing the beginning of that transition and seeing the people, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what's going to come from these protests.
Yeah, and I do agree. I feel like the people of Puerto Rico came together in a very unique way to do this protest. You know, I saw that, I would say social media had a lot of power to bring in people together. The organizers in Puerto Rico had a theme every day. You know, they had a day for LGBTQ community, they had one for mothers, they did yoga and La Fortaleza. So the fact that they brought in different communities together and you had influential artists also be joining them, it was pretty incredible to see how well organized it was. And you saw people from all ages, of colors, even tourists that were there. So that was very inspiring to see. As a Puerto Rican from far from home, we were inspired to see that and be like, wow, our people are really beautiful and doing really good work.
You both were involved in organizing local demonstrations in support of Puerto Rico. Cynthia, you in Holyoke, Adam, you in Springfield. Why did you both feel it was important to have these events?
People were actually reaching out to us, asking us, hey, is there a local demonstration? New York is doing something, Hartford's doing something. And for us, it became very important. We are an organization in ourselves, are Puerto Rican, very proud, and we are all about the culture, and it's very important. We came together for Hurricane Maria when it happened to help the people that came. It made sense to come together to demonstrate, but also to give a space, especially in Holyoke, you have the largest Puerto Rican population per capita outside of the island, a space to also grieve and mourn and also be able to kind of de-stress everything that's been happening. So for us, it was very exciting and successful, and we didn't expect that many people. We had people from all over come, and we were excited to also join with Springfield to do this work.
We were just standing in line with the rest of our people, with the 8.5 million other Puerto Ricans that live on this earth, and we felt that, you know, it was important that the folks that live on the island that can't vote on these elections with the people that make these decisions, that we're actually putting a little pressure on our elected officials as well, letting them know that, you know, Holyoke statistically being the having the most per capita Puerto Ricans. Springfield, on the other hand, has about 46% or 44% Latinos, but majority of them are from Puerto Rican descent. So our community has been here, like everybody, other Puerto Rican communities in the nation, just as long. So we've been here since the 50s, so, and we're American. So we want to make sure when it comes to corruption that we're standing in solidarity to make sure that we're going to stand up for our people and make sure that we have their back.
And on Wednesday, the 24th, Rosselló announced his resignation, and Friday, August 2nd, it will take effect.
Yes.
What's next?
I would say we are sort of keeping tabs of what's happening in Puerto Rico and following really the leaders there, the organizers there. They're the ones that are there that need the demand. They do want the Congress and senators to sort of pardon the debt and kind of get rid of Promesa en la Junta. So we kind of organize ourselves to be able to help in that way here. So yesterday, Adam and some other people from the group met with Congressman Neal. If you want to share more about that, yeah.
No, just we looked at the different things that Puerto Rico would need to stabilize itself. We know that there's going to be new leadership after Rosselló leaves on Friday. But what we asked, and one of the biggest demands that's coming from the diaspora and our colleagues in the nation from the different communities, is asking to audit the debt. We want to know exactly what is it that Puerto Rico owes? And then there was other parts of, corruption acts on how to make sure that this type of corruption and oversight won't happen again. But moving forward, because we have the most powerfulest Democrat in chair of Ways and Means, we wanted to speak to him for him to understand that, up and down the Connecticut River Valley, he represents a good portion of over 100,000 Puerto Rican people. And we wanted to make sure that, that moving forward, if he's in a position to help Puerto Rico, what was his plan? And moving forward, what we talked about is that his door is wide open, that he is open to trying to figure out what his colleagues are doing, like AOC and also Nydia Velasquez, Jose Serrano, and Chuy Garcia in Chicago, trying to come around something, a piece of legislation that means something. So in September 18th, there's going to be a big a lobby day to talk about that legislation, which we don't know what's on it, but one of the main factors on there is to audit the debt, and then from there trying to figure out how can we make, if Promesa for the moment or the La Junta can't be disbanded, what is the next steps moving forward on making it more transparent and having people of Puerto Rico that have a conflict of interest when it comes to government can be part of that junta at the same time to try to make that more of the people and less of corporations. And
can you explain what Promesa en la Junta is?
After the fiscal oversight, after the $72 billion that couldn't be paid through under fiscal, the Congress created this fiscal control board that would come in and was appointed by Congress, these commissioners, and they would actually try to help and establish when the money comes, how is it being spent, moving forward, making these decisions for the government of Puerto Rico and for the people. And a lot of people, when it comes to our beaches, our resources, essentially our public land that is being taken and sold off, to try to figure out how to kickstart this economy, because we can't just believe that this economy is going to be strong or have strength behind just tourism. And, this is like when you asked earlier about what kind of this came of this protest. And when I said it was they drew a line in the sand, it's 100 years of, trying to figure out, when is the people of Puerto Rico going to be able to lead on their own and be able to do stuff, and what are the tools that we can do to make sure that we thrive.